Hi guys, it's Adam. I just wanted to shoot a little video today about the 90-10 nutrition challenge, and what I want to do here is just kind of go over it a little bit, and sort of I have these rules laid out on the website, and I kind of want to go over each rule individually and just give people a sense of what we're after and kind of the spirit behind these rules, so that there's an understanding of exactly what we're trying to accomplish here. I mean, the idea is that you know, we do this 90-10 challenge, and you eat really healthy food 90% of the time, and other food that's still pretty healthy the other 10% of the time. And really the idea that we're after here is that you create a, you know, sort of a healthy lifetime habits that you can continue on your life. And not to say that you're going to eat 90-10 your entire life, but you know, 80-20 is still not too bad. So rather than than just looking at this as, oh, this is just such a burden, 60 days that I just have to get through, and then I can go back to, you know, eating McDonald's and eating crap all the time. That's really not the idea we're after. We're not trying to make this into something that is bigger, you know, and more than what it really is. And you know, we're trying to make this just so that you can establish some really good habits during these next 60 days. So obviously, if you're watching this, either A, you've committed to this challenge, or you're thinking about committing to the challenge, or maybe you catch this on YouTube or something like that. And if you do, and you're interested in this type of challenge, shoot me an email. The email should be on your screen, so you can shoot me an email or check out the website or whatever. So let's go over the challenge here. I have the list of rules right here, and I'm just going to kind of go over them one by one. So the 90-10 nutritional challenge, rule number one is basically that, you know, every single person in this challenge, or just generally, is not the same. It's not going to be affected the same by nutrition as you know, the next person might not be. I'm not a registered dietitian or nutritionist or anything like that, and I don't really claim to be. However, I found that this really works for people, and like I said before, I'm not trying to reinvent anything here. We're just trying to eat really healthy food. So that being said, if there's something in this that you know, you just can't do for whatever reason, and you know, if it's a legitimate excuse, like, you know, you have some dietary condition or whatever, then, you know, email me or send me a message or whatever, and we'll work around whatever that is. Now, if it's like, you know, just some, you know, kind of bullcrap excuse or whatever, we're going to try to work through that as well. But that's basically the kind of spirit behind this rule right here. So rule number two is 90% of your food intake will come from Mish's ladder, tiers number 1 and 2. So if you're not familiar with Mish's ladder, first of all, you need to get on the website and you need to download this. And what I do is we just print it off and we put it right on. We have a magnet on it. It goes right on the refrigerator, so that any food we eat, we can kind of go through here and check it. Now, check on the actual sheet where it's at. Now, what we've done is, you know, over time, we've been doing this for several months now, and over time, we have a pretty good feel of where things are at. So you know, we don't refer to it quite as often, but when we first started, like every single thing we ate, literally, we would check with this first, or single thing we planned, we would check with this first and see what it's on. So tiers 1 and 2 are super healthy foods. So, you know, you're talking about your, I don't know, asparagus, generally your vegetables, your whole grains, and lean meats are going to be on tiers 1 and 2, okay? So 90% of your food is going to be on that. Now, how do you know if 90% of your food is on that? Well, there's two things with this. Number one is you're going to have to count calories. And there's some really easy ways to do that on the web. I recommend you use the application MyFitnessPal. That's what we use. You could actually friend request me on that or whatnot. You can see what I'm eating, and I can see what you're eating, that type of thing. It's kind of additional accountability as well, and it will actually keep track of all your calories. You know, you type in the food or whatever, and it keeps track of it. So it's a really good way of doing that. On that, in order to do this, we're going to ask that you use a calorie calculator and figure out what your daily intake of calories should be. Now, the reason we're doing this is so that you hit you have a general feel of where as many calories you need to eat for a day. We're not doing this to say, I want you to eat less calories. That's not the idea of this challenge. The idea of this challenge is to eat really healthy, ultra healthy food, and you lose weight, if that's your goal, as a result of that. We're trying to fuel your body properly is what we're trying to do. We're not trying to restrict your body by restricting calories, which essentially is energy. Calorie is a unit of energy. So let's be really clear here that the reason we are counting calories for this is so that you can calculate 90%. You can calculate and make sure that 90% of your food is in tiers 1 and 2, and the other 10% is in tiers 3 or 4. We are not calculating calories so that you can cut them out of your diet. Okay, I want to make sure this is extremely clear. Now, the next thing on that same thing is, because the next rule is the remaining 10%. This is rule 3. The remaining 10% of your calories are allowed to come from tiers 3 and 4. Now, what's on tiers 3 and 4? I mean, tiers 3 and 4 are not, terrible stuff. You have honey, granola, dried fruit, baked French fries, rice milk, rice cake, shrimp, almond milk's on tier 3. I don't necessarily agree with everything with this, but some of your fattier beef is on there, beer's on there, wine's on there. This is tier 4. Lamb chops, lasagna's tier 4. So those types of things are on tier 4. So 10% of your food intake, your calorie intake, can come from those. Now, how do you do this actually? Because how do you know if you have foods that are on tier 1 or tier 2? It's pretty easy if you're eating whole foods like an avocado, a sweet potato, an apple. Okay, these are whole foods. They have one ingredient. Like when I go to buy an avocado at the store, there's no ingredient list that comes with it, because that's all it is. It's an avocado. So I can look up avocado on this list and see that I think it's a tier 2 food, and know that it's right on the list. So I know right away that this is tier 1 or tier 2 food. Okay, so that's the goal, is to eat as many one ingredient foods as you can. Now, on the opposite thing, I found this in our pantry. It's graham crackers. If you look at the ingredient list on this, the first ingredient is enriched flour, which the enriched flour contains wheat flour, niacin, reduced iron, thiamine monohydrate. I have no idea what that is. Riboflavin, sugar, graham flour, which contains whole wheat or whole grain wheat flour, canola and or soybean oil, high fructose corn syrup. I mean, first of all, high fructose corn syrup is automatic tier 5. So this is tier 5 food automatically. But my point is that how would you ever figure out which is on tier 1, which is on tier 2, and that type of thing when you're eating something like that? It would be literally impossible to do. So the idea is to eat whole, healthy foods that have one ingredient. It's going to take planning on your part, and it's going to take a commitment on your part, but that's basically what the idea is after. So rule number 4. None of your food intake should come from tier 5. Okay, so tier 5 is basically all your processed crap food, your hard alcohol, cookies, not creamer, donuts, energy drink, pies, pizza, which we have a really good pizza recipe that is probably mostly tier 1 and 2. It is in our group. So high fructose corn syrup, sugared cereal, soft drinks. I mean, all this stuff is tier 5, and it's stuff that for the next 60 days you're going to commit to not eating. Okay, so that's rule number 4. Rule number 5 is just understand that this challenge is really difficult for most people. I mean, a lot of people that start this challenge are going probably from eating 60-40 or 70-30 or something like that, and trying to jump all the way up to 90-10. It's going to be really challenging. There's going to be certain things that are going to be a real challenge to overcome. There's a lot of a lot of people, I mean myself included, that are going to have issues with this along the way, especially when you go an entire 60 days. So the point here is to own up to this, and if you have failures or whatever, that's okay. Go ahead and post that in the group or whatnot. If you have success, post that as well, so that we can, as a group, we can come along, we can celebrate with you when you have success, and we can also encourage you when you're not having success, and when you're having challenges. The other thing is when you failed in some way, or you've eaten a food that you shouldn't have eaten or whatever, just move on. Get over it quickly and move on. And don't let it ruin your entire rest of the day. Like, I hear this all the time where it's like, you know what, I ate a Snickers bar for lunch. I shouldn't have ate it, so my day's wasted anyway. So I'm just going to screw the rest of the day up. Well, I mean, don't make one small decision ruin the rest of your day or the rest of your week. Just get over it. Okay, you know what? I messed up. Okay, I'm going to move on and move on. Don't let that one decision to continue to ruin your nutrition for the rest of the day. Rule number 6 is there's a few foods on Misha's ladder that aren't going to show up on there. There's not really that many, but there are a few that won't show up. It's a pretty good list. However, if you do run into a food that's not on there, then you have a couple choices you can make. You can either you can try to find a food that's similar to that, and kind of make a determination off of that. Okay, if it's, I don't even know an example, but just something that's similar to the food you're choosing, just make a decision off of that. B, if you're not comfortable with that, just shoot us an email or post it in the group, and as a group, or just Carrie and I can make that decision for you and say, yes, that is a tier 2 food, or yes, that is a tier 1 food. So that type of thing can happen. So that's rule number 6. Rule number 7 is Shakeology. If you're drinking Shakeology, you need to have a plan to drink that every day. Make sure you know what meal you would be replacing that with. Okay, if it's breakfast, that's great. That's the way Carrie and I do it. I drink it every morning. I can throw all my stuff in a blender, and in 5 minutes it's done. I'm out the door, and I can drink it on my way to work. But you don't have to do it that way. If you want to do it for lunch or dinner or snacks or whatever, that's fine. But just make sure you have a plan to do that every day, and you know which meal you're replacing with that every day. If you don't, you're going to end up with a bag at the end of the day, or at the end of the month, a full bag of Shakeology, which you spent a lot of money on, that is still full. So make sure you're using that, and really, in order to get the benefits of that, you need to be drinking that every day. It's all tier 1, so that for that meal that you're choosing to replace, that is 100% tier 1. So that it's done for you, and you don't have to worry about that anymore. So just have a plan for that. Rule number 8 is to take ownership of this challenge. Okay, this challenge, it's a 60-day challenge that you're doing. So it's, in the grand scheme of things, when you look at it, and in your entire lifetime, 60 days is nothing. Even in a year, 60 days is not a very large percentage of even a year. So you know what? Commit to this for 60 days, and commit to posting every day how you're doing, your percentages, everything every day. And if you do that, I guarantee you, at the end of 60 days, you will see results. There's just no question in my mind that this program works. So if you really commit to it, and you really challenge yourself, and you post every day, you take ownership, and you use the accountability group, you will see results. Because we see it all the time, where we see people that they post maybe some of the time, they're not posting that much. So they're not eating right if they're not posting. And at the end of 60 days, you know what, I didn't really have that good of results. And they sort of blame the program for that. Where in reality, they weren't as committed as they need to be. So commit to this and take ownership of it. And you know what, you owe it to yourself. If you're going to do this, you owe it to yourself to, at a minimum, do this for 60 days. And we're not saying you have to do it for the rest of your life, but just for 60 days, let's do it. So make sure there's a commitment here. there. So rule number 9 is to get rid of the junk food. Go through your pantry, go through your cupboards, go through your refrigerator, your freezers, or whatever, and let's throw out that junk. Because for the next 60 days, you're not going to eat that. So it's going to be a lot easier not to eat that if it's not in your house. Tony Horton has always said that you know, when you go to the grocery store, you know, obviously people tell you to shop the outside aisles or whatnot, but you know, saying no at the grocery store one time is a lot easier than saying no 100 times after that food enters your house. So number 1, get rid of the food, the junk food in your house. Number 2, don't buy that again when you go to the store. So that's rule number 9. And then rule number 10 is the last is don't go at it alone. You have the accountability group obviously on Facebook, but also let your spouse or your significant other know about this, know what you're doing. You know, don't try to do this by yourself. You have roommates or whatever your situation is. You know, make sure they know what you're trying to do, so that they can come along and try to support you in this. And you know, let them know, hey, this is really important to me. I really want to try this, and you know, I would appreciate your support. So try to do that, and you know, hopefully they'll come along beside you and at least support you for the next 60 days. So that's the 10 rules, and that's kind of what my thoughts behind them. And you know, if you have any questions regarding these 10 rules, feel free to shoot me a message or email me. I'm really looking forward to this next 60 days, and I hope you are too. Like I said, if you really commit to this challenge and you really do what the challenge is about, I have no doubt in my mind that you will see results at the end of the 60 days. So we're looking forward to it. And like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot us a message. I'll talk to you next time. Thanks. Bye.